Hello everyone, it's Lecea4 here, and you know what? I saw a video that kind of inspired me to do this, but I guess a lot of you don't know the story of how Robin and I met. So here we go, how Lecea and Louis met. So, I should start the story off with college. I just had finished high school and I was going to Miller College of the Bible. Yes, it's a Bible school. But it's probably one of the best decisions I've actually made in my life. Not just because, you can guess that's where I met Robin, but I've met so many friends because of that school that I'm still in contact with today, and we're like the best of friends. I went there after I finished high school, so a fresh 18-year-old heading out there, and I think I technically got introduced to Robin through my roommate at the time, Naomi, and her friend, who eventually became her boyfriend, then husband, Zach, actually started to become friends with Robin. Robin and Zach were in the same dormitory hall, and of course Naomi and I were roommates. So I kind of hung around with Naomi because she was a second year and I was a freshman. So I kind of hung by her, visiting her friends. And I met, that's how I met a lot of the friends I had. And Robin would sit with Zach. And so at the dinner tables, we would usually sit together. But at that time, I think Robin and I did not become, officially friends until late September when we did a photo shoot. Naomi and Zach and I and a few other people, we all dressed up and we went to the soccer field that had a bunch of trees that kind of bordered around it, and we took pictures. Excuse me. You can actually, it might be a long time ago, but these pictures are still on Facebook to this day, and there's only actually one picture of Robin and I together, and I wasn't even posing for the picture. Robin was just giving the camera a smirk while I was looking at my own camera and laughing at the picture I took on my camera, and that became the technically first ever picture that was between us. Now, the reason why Robin and I maybe didn't start dating sooner than we did was actually during that time I had my eyes on someone else. I had met him a few years before, but we actually started getting a little interested in each other the summer before I went to college, and he actually lived there. His parents were instructors at the college, so most of my friends knew that I, of course, was interested in someone else. That, fortunately and unfortunately for the moment, did not end well. I was a very naive person. I never dated when I was in high school, and so I didn't exactly know how dating worked in a way. And it doesn't help that I was a very sheltered, I still am a Christian, but I was a very sheltered Christian girl, and I didn't know very many people who, would get pregnant, through dating, and of course, it was like, oh, how could you ever do something like that? Don't you think you'd have enough control? Blah, 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 that kind of stuff. It was actually through that short relationship with the other person that showed me how naive I was and how I had I needed to learn a lot more about relationships. We went too far for my standards. I won't say much about it. It was a bad breakup because we were starting to do things that I would have never, ever done before. See, I believe in, well, I'm sorry for you young people, but I'm going to say it. I believe in sex after marriage. And I almost didn't do it. Or I almost went there with this guy. We didn't, because I was still technically a virgin on my wedding day, but I almost went there with that guy. And so we broke it off, and it was the first ever breakup that I had. And it devastated me to the point where I was actually losing hair. I was so sad. Naomi would actually put the vacuum on my head. I was losing so much hair. It was very noticeable. And Naomi was helping me a lot, and I'm very thankful to have a friend like her. She helped me a lot through this time. We would watch Barbie movies late into the night, and she would, had a lot of tickle sessions to try to make me laugh and smile. And Robin, of course, was still my friend, but we weren't close enough that I would tell him these things. So the guy I was interested in, we broke off our very short relationship in October of 2010. And Robin found out that I was technically single late December. And it was actually through another friend of ours. And Robin was interested in me. I mean, Naomi and Zach were very good to bring us along on their dates. They enjoyed our company, so we were the third wheels of their dates. Well, of course, they had dates alone, but when they wanted people to join, we were the go-to people. And I really specifically remember when Zach and Naomi and another couple and Robin and I were watching Gladiator? I think it was Gladiator. It was the Are You Not Entertained movie. And we didn't have chairs, so we were all laying down. And Robin and I, we laid together. And after a while, we just started talking. And we were mocking and teasing the other dating couples there, saying like, hand check, and just teasing them like, oh, look how close they are together, and blah, blah, blah. So when Robin found out I was single, he started talking to me on Facebook, because I didn't have his number at the time. And it was very short, but, we started to get to know each other. And I think I started to like him in January of 2011. Now, the funny thing is that there were a few other guys I thought were very sweet and cute guys. Robin was one of them, but there were two others. So whenever someone would be like, so do you think anyone's cute? I'd be like, I don't know. I think 3 are cute. And the funny thing is that I actually admitted this to my one friend, and he said, oh, that's very normal. I'm like, oh. And a lot of people knew, actually Zach and Naomi knew about this. They knew that I was starting to develop a crush on Robin, and Robin was interested in me. So they decided to have some fun with us. Zach had just finished a course where learning about how to marry people, I guess, if you were ever an officiator or a pastor in a wedding. And they found out, and Zach and Naomi were like, hey, we should put someone in an arranged marriage, after they were talking about, they were teasing about the positive sides of arranged marriages. And Robin just happened to come in, and they were like, hey, would you like to be in an arranged marriage? And Robin's just like, oh, okay, with whom? And then Naomi was like, how about my roommate? And Robin's like, okay. And so for like half a week, the people who were involved in this kept saying congratulations to me. Oh, it drove me crazy. And people were writing congratulations on my board, and then one girl was she didn't really know the context, but she was like, congratulations, and then that Friday, they were like, you're gonna find out what this is all about on Friday. So it's like, okay, that's good. So Friday comes, and I'm supposed to meet in our lounge underneath the cafeteria. So I go there, and there's a bunch of people, and they were like, congratulations on your engagement. And I was like, my engagement? And they had a card for me, apparently, like, congratulations on your engagement with Robin. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And Robin wasn't there. They're like, we were going to have a marriage ceremony for you and Robin, but Robin walked away from the altar. It's like, what? He's like, oh, he went to a basketball game. It's like, what? and so that Monday, one of our specific profs who likes to joke around and tease, he's a very chill guy, he was talking, and it actually was Robin's birthday, and he likes to single out the people with birthdays. So someone was like, would anyone like to sing happy birthday to Robin? And that one girl, which was, taking it a little too far, was like, how about Alyssa? Because they're engaged. And of course, no one else knows this context. And the prof is just like, what? And oh my goodness, I shouted at her. I was like, no! And like my face got so red. Actually, Naomi went and talked to that girl after. Naomi went and talked to her. And, I don't remember if it was sometime after. I don't remember if it was like hours or a day or a few days after. Robin asked if I would like to go on a walk with him. And I was like, oh, okay. So we had a class off, and so we went for a walk. And he's like, oh, so I'm sorry that, that happened. I was like, oh, it's okay, and everything. And then it started happening. Robin, if you've gotten this far in this, feel free to enter the details that maybe I forgot or I am twisting in the comments below, okay? He started saying that he liked me, and this is all I remember. He's like, well, he was saying something, and he's like, well, I don't want to be awkward because I like you. And that's all I remember, because in my mind I was thinking, like, oh my goodness, he likes me! Oh my goodness, he likes me! Ah! And this is like 4 months after the bad breakup, so of course I'm like, ah! And then all of a sudden I hear him say, I hope I didn't awkward you out. And I said, oh, no, you didn't. And I forgot to tell him I liked him back. So we continued on our walk, and so we started talking about, each other and what we like doing and our families, and that's when I got his phone number officially, or maybe, Robin, do you remember if I got your phone number at the time? I don't remember. And so we decided, we were liking each other, but we decided we would wait till after the February break to start dating. And so I went on a trip with Zach and Naomi and another friend to the friend's grandparents' cabin. And Robin and I were texting that entire time. Oh my goodness. It was crazy. He was visiting family in Edmonton while we were we were about half an hour away from like Lloydminster. And we were just chatting. And then Sunday comes when we're supposed to come back to school. And so we're like, hey, let's go have lunch at Tony Roma's. And I was like, okay, let's go have lunch. And something was strange when I noticed that Zach and Naomi were not sitting together. And they made me sit facing away from the door. And I thought it was weird, but I was like, oh, okay. And so we're sitting there, and I just ordered a drink. and all of a sudden I felt these hands go on my shoulders, and it was like a woo, and it of course scares me. Look back, and there's Robin. It's like, what? And apparently he and Naomi and Zach planned this entire thing, and yeah. So then Naomi sits with Zach and Robin and I and the other friend. We all have lunch, and then I was like, hey, can I ride with Robin? And then Naomi made this joke. He's like, you're taking away my roomie? And then Robin's just like, yeah. And so we moved my stuff into his car. And then, we were just turned onto the highway heading back to our college, which would be like about a 4-hour drive. And all of a sudden, he's like, hey, would you check the glove box for me? I was like, what? And so I did. And there was this little beaver, a little toy beaver that was sitting in there. And of course, I was like, oh. And just in that time, he reached back and brought out a bouquet of pink roses. And of course, he gave me the roses, and I was holding them, and I was like, wow, try not to cry. And then I said, does this mean I get to hold your hand? And then he says, after I asked the question, will you go out with me? And of course, I was like, yes! So I went for his hand. And I guess another story behind this, before I continue on, is that Robin and I held hands before we were dating. Oh no! We were actually that was a kind of funny story, because Naomi and Zach and Robin and I were at a couple's house watching Beauty and the Beast, and we were sitting together with a blanket over us. I don't remember if that was my idea or Robin's idea, but I felt his hand touch my foot. He was rubbing it. I was thinking, does he want to hold my hand? Does he want to hold my hand? So the way I was sitting was like I had my legs kind of pointed to the side and on the couch, and and I had my hand on my upper thigh. So, to try not to be noticeable, I slowly slid my hand down my leg until I touched his hand. And of course, my heart's just going, da, 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 da. It was a freaky moment. And then all of a sudden, I feel those fingers wrap around mine, and we just both looked at each other, and it was just like, ah! So yes, we held hands before we were dating. Ugh. Anyway, so we get back, and yeah, things go, we decided we would wait for our first kiss to be after college, because we only had a few, 2 months left. So we decided, let's just wait 2 months before we have our first kiss. So for our first year ends, and I actually went on a choir drama tour for about 2 weeks. We were in smaller towns in British Columbia and Alberta, and we were performing. And when we came back, I don't even remember if I went home. I think I went straight to his place, or if I did go home, I was only there just one night, and then I was gone. And I hadn't actually met his family before, his parents before. And so I head over to his house, which was like a 5.5-hour drive away. He's up in mid-north, Saskatchewan, and I'm down in the south. So we meet up, and I'm pretty sure this wasn't planned, but his dad was probably hoping this. He's like, hey, could you go and get a farm part from this town? Was it Nipawin? I don't even remember. And Robin's like, you want to come with me? I was like, okay. And then his dad made a comment about, hey, you got a pretty blonde sitting in your car there. And yeah, his dad was funny. And so, we went to Nipawin, we got the farm part, and we were coming back. And correct me if I'm wrong, Robin, but that was when he made this comment. He's like, I don't like it when, people assume that after the third date or the third kiss, you're supposed to have sex. And I was like, oh? Of course, my mom was thinking, is he implying that he wants to kiss me? I honestly don't know. And we get back home and we're watching a movie and we're cuddling and stuff. And I was kind of, and after a while, I was kind of, we were just hanging out and I was looking at his face and he's like, and he says, I read this post how that when someone like looks at your lips, they want to kiss you. Ironically, I was looking at his lips. But I was like, oh, I did too. And then it took a little time, but then we had our first kiss. Now, I had kissed someone before. Obviously, it was that guy before I had kissed him. Robin had never kissed a girl. So I felt very proud that I was his first kiss. And I was for his first girlfriend too. And I was so happy that I like cried for like 20 minutes. Oh my goodness. I like tried not to cry until we went to bed in like our separate bedrooms. And I was just like, bah! And during that summer, we tried to balance, you know, how many times we talked to each other, like through texting and through Skype, and how many times we saw each other physically. I think once a month, one of us would drive to each other's homes. So first time I drove to his parents' place, so then he drove to my parents' place, and we went back to college in second year, and it was good. We met other people that we kind of helped with their dating struggles, and we saw some friends of ours break up. Actually, Zach and Naomi did break up during that time. They had a time where they broke up, and then after that year, we did the same thing kind of for summer, except we talked a lot more through texting and phone calls and Skype. And we had a few weddings. Two of Robin's cousins got married that year. So, after going back from the wedding in the second year, Robin and I were in the car, and we were silent. We're heading back to his parents' place. And Robin made this comment, do you ever miss being single? And I was really caught off guard. Of course, I was like, oh, no, what do you mean? But in my mind, I was thinking, he's going to break up with me. And he was just talking about, like, how... I guess I don't exactly remember, but he was saying, like, how, you know, maybe we should take he didn't intentionally say it, but he was saying maybe we should consider taking a break. And recently, actually, Robin told me that it was because he felt we were in a partner relationship where we had to either take to the next step, so engagement, or we would start becoming stagnant, like we would just stop growing as a couple, and that could result in a breakup. And of course I start crying because I'm an emotional woman, and but I think I said this where I said, well, you're going to third year and I'm not. You could take this as like a break, but we could still be dating. And, you know, he's like, yeah, that could work. I'm pretty sure he knew this. He's a very smart guy. And so that's what we did. I moved to Saskatoon, where I am now. And I moved in with my good old roommate, Amanda, or Lola, as you know her. I moved in with her while Robin went to third year. And so, as hard as it was being separated for that time, we did still try to visit each other when we could. It was good for our relationship. It helped us not to depend too much on each other, and to treasure the time we actually had together. And so, after he graduated with a bachelor's degree. He decided after he would farm with his dad that he would go to Australia to work. Now, I think this is when I started becoming popular, or not popular, but I started getting more subscribers. So some of you might remember this. Robin went to Australia to work for a few months and then to vacation. And, that was rough. I cried for like a whole week after he left, and I made this sappy video, to the Doctor Who's, what's it called? It's a sad one. It's like, look it up. You can find it. I made a sappy video of like me being sad and blah, blah, blah. And he came back home January Yeah, the end of January of 2014. Yes, 2014. And oh man, that was the greatest, one of the greatest moments of my life, just seeing him come off the airplane. I did actually post a video of Robin and I, like, in real life reuniting, and of course my friend Sean is just like, oh, you guys are so cute, and blah blah blah. And shortly after, in February, he and our friend Steven and another friend of ours, Dan, they moved into a house together in Saskatoon. And this is probably, other than college, the first time we actually lived close to each other. So I would probably visit him like once a week at least. Oh my goodness, at least. And yeah, and so, you know, we're just working and doing our thing. In early September of 2014, Robin was going... actually, no. I was finishing work early, and I thought, why don't I have Robin pick me up from work? And so I asked him, and he said he would. I was like, okay. And so he takes me home to the apartment that Amanda and I were living in for quite a time now. And he parks in Amanda's spot because she was working that day. So when she was working, he would park in her spot, unless, you know, it's an apartment complex. So you have to park in, like, very weird places for visitors. And he stops the car because I thought he was just going to drop me off. And I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, we were going to get that air conditioner, right? And I had actually a portable air conditioner that I wanted to get out of my house because I didn't need it anymore. And I thought, hey, maybe the guys could benefit from this. And I was like, oh, yeah. And so I get out, and he's like, well, I'll meet you at the back door, because I was on a floor level. So he's like, I'll meet you in your back door. I was like, okay. And so I get into the complex, I unlock my room, excuse me, and I pull back the blinds, and there's Robin standing with his guitar. And I was like, you know, of course, open the door. I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, I remember about 3 years ago when I said I wanted to serenade you with my guitar? I was like, oh yeah. He's like, well, I'm going to serenade you with my guitar. And so he sings a custom song that he wrote. I actually have the song, but because it's a private thing, I'm not going to share the song with you. But he sings a song that he wrote about how pretty I was and how I think he's cute. And it was funny. It made me chuckle. But I think Robin will be okay with this. The song ended, and all I want to say is, and then he stops playing his guitar, reaches into his guitar case with a box, and he says, Alyssa Joanne Thompson, will you marry me? I was like, I was like, yes. And then the ring was a little small, but when we put the ring on, started making my finger red, but I was just like, and so we immediately phoned our family members to tell them, you know, we were engaged before we made it official on Facebook and DeviantArt and all the places. And were my parents so excited because I was the first one getting married. And oh man, Naomi and Zach were in our wedding party, and oh, it was so good. Yeah. And we went to Los Angeles for our honeymoon after we got married in February 2015, and we went to theme parks, and we went to the zoo and to a bookstore that Robin likes because he's a nerd, and oh man, it was quite the journey to get here for sure. And of course, Robin knew of the past with the other guy, and he dealt with me, because for a long time I had bad flashbacks that would make me cry, and he dealt with that. We dealt with long distance dating, we dealt with, oh man, and of course the possibility of, you know, taking a break, but we went through a lot, and now, you know, we've been married for over a year now, and yeah, so what does the future have in store for us? Well, obviously we don't know, but we can always plan things. The next step in people who read this on DeviantArt know that Robin and I have a few goals in life before we settle down and start having children. Yes, children are going to be in the future. Rob and I both like children, and we do sometimes, fantasize about us being parents one day. But before that happens, Robin and I set a few goals for ourselves. Mainly that the main goal was to get a house. Like, actually mortgage our own house. Done deal. And that hasn't happened yet, but we're going to try to look into maybe winter of this year. And then the next goal is we were thinking maybe going to New Zealand for our vacation, but that might change because our friends Steven and Chris have been talking about the four of us going to Disney World sometime in the future when the Star Wars parks are finished. So that might be our trip, our big trip that we take. And one minor goal was that we wanted a new car. Well, the new car goal has been achieved. So we're one small step closer to settling down having children. But if you want to know when that time actually comes, I'll probably document it on my new vlog channel that I have. The vlog channel will be in the link in the description if you want to keep updated on life and stuff. But yeah, every year on our anniversary, we decided that until we have children, we would give our lives about 6 months, and then we'll talk about if we're ready to have children yet. Now, whenever we get that house, though, we'll see. And our trip, I think, though, we might go on our trip, well, we'll see what happens. But we've agreed that we will start really considering having children after our trip to Disney World. And, of course, we don't know when that's scheduled because we don't know when the Star Wars parks are finished. So, until then, you'll just have to see videos and pictures of Robin and I and what the future entails. And of course, it's not perfect. We still have times of arguing, and we still have times of miscommunication and frustration, and it's every couple goes through that. It's nothing to be ashamed about. But that is our story. I hope I didn't ramble, guys. But yeah, that's the story of how Lecea and Louis met. And now that we're, he liked me and he put a ring on me. So, whatever the future holds, we'll take it step by step. I've done this new project now that on every anniversary, we're going to take a selfie of ourselves. All the way up to one of us passes away. That part still makes me sad to think that one of us will most likely die before the other, and the other one has to be alone. But you know what? We shouldn't have to worry about that for maybe another 50 years. Alright, well, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed the story of how we met. And I hope you have a great day. And enjoy the summer, everyone. Bye!